Welcome to the Courage Barbell Unlimited podcast with your host, legendary powerlifter and strength athlete, Chad Ikes. For most, the journey of strength starts in the gym, but should inevitably expand through all aspects of life. Join us as we discuss all things strength. Now, here's your host, Chad Ikes.
Hey guys, tonight I have an interesting little conversation with myself, basically, that I've been thinking about and I've been having for, I don't know, it's probably been a good month or two. And I've also been talking to some of my friends about it and having discussions because we have different viewpoints definitely on it. It's more or less about the journey or the goal and emotions attached to it or not attached to it. And it's something I've been really simmering on, stewing on, because the more I think about it, the more I'm realizing that I've had certain opinions over my life, my lifting career, and it's kind of changed over time. And even starting this conversation with some of my friends, I kind of went, whoa, wait a minute. I wasn't really looking at this the best way possible, or the way that I thought I was looking at it doesn't really make sense. I have always kind of had a brain like that where, and this may be partially like an imposter syndrome or something, I never feel like I know enough. I never feel like I'm good enough at something. Not to say I don't feel like I'm good. I feel like I'm good. I feel like I'm a very good strength coach. I feel like I have a ton of knowledge. I just feel like there's more, and I feel like I could be better and do more. So it's like one of the t-shirts on the website is there's always more. And no matter what you do, there's always going to be more. So don't ever think you're ever going to get to the finish line, because there is no finish line. There's attempting a goal, and either you get it or you don't, but you reset and you move on. And that's kind of where this conversation started. Should you be focusing on the goal, or should you be focusing on the journey? Should you have emotional attachments or expectations of emotions tied to that? And at first I tended to lean towards, no, it's the journey. Because I look back at some of the times I hit what I was after, and my celebration was very short. And I immediately went, okay, I can do more. What's next? So I thought, no, it's really about the journey for me. And the more I talked about this, the more I thought, no, it's not necessarily about the journey. It is about the goal. I mean, I picked the goal because it excited me, because I had passion for it, because I had feelings for it. And then when I hit it, my celebrations didn't last long, but I did celebrate. You can watch the videos. You can see me beating on my chest. You can see me excited. But shortly, within a few minutes, I was thinking, okay, what else can I do? Like, how much further can I take this? And part of that is that emotion felt so good that I'm like, cool, let's do it again. Let's go for it again. Let's start planning for the next one. It didn't matter to me how long that feeling was. And you also got to consider that I'm very big into visualizing. So I had already achieved that and celebrated that goal hundreds, if not thousands of times by the time I actually accomplished it. So to say you only celebrated for 5 minutes, well, not really. You actually celebrated it a whole lot longer. Because we know that your body cannot really differentiate if it actually happened or if you imagined it happened. If you're visualizing really good, your body doesn't know the difference. This has been proven in studies time after time, where they have people do the physical movement, then they have people visualize the movement, and they're always very similar. Again, though, they don't do studies of people that do both. I want a study of the physical, I want a study of the mental, and then I want a study of the physical and the mental. This is a side note, though. So I got to thinking back on this, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. Like, I do attach emotion to the outcome, to the goal. I also attach emotion to the journey itself. And I enjoy both of them. And why do I have to pick one or the other? Why would I attach emotions or not attach emotions? And I began to kind of look at this all in a different perspective, in a different way. And I think emotions are hugely, hugely powerful. They can be powerful in a positive way and in a negative way. And they actually have a physical effect on our bodies. We know that if you have a feeling of gratitude, it helps your HRV, which is a good indicator of how you're doing, because it has to do with the consistency of the beats in between the heart. And actually, the more consistent, the worse it is. So you want you want a higher HRV. And if you just think of like people being in, if you look at like, say, more of spiritual or mental healing and stuff like that, we know that, and working in physical therapy, this is the same thing. People that had given up or aren't positive about their recovery don't do very well. It's the people that are really positive and really bright and always choose that positive outlook that recover way better. I saw this time and time and time again back when I was a physical therapy tech. So why would I choose to not have that emotional attachment to it? And I'm not sure, like, I think people hear attachment and they feel like, well, that's all there is. That's the only reason you're doing it. And to me, that's not the case. Attachment just means it's attached to it. It doesn't mean it's the only attachment. I'm attaching a lot of stuff to my goals, and I'm attaching a lot of stuff to my journey. Then I did an Instagram post on this, and it was just a 5-minute deal. So I'm doing this to expand on it. But I saw a thing this morning with Brad Pitt, which I think that's kind of funny because it's an actor, but it actually was a deep thing that he said, and it made me think a lot. But he was talking, it was at some awards, and he was talking about, people saying, is it the goal or is it the journey? And he was talking to somebody and they said, well, I don't think it's either. I think it's the camaraderie or the people around you. And I went, that's another interesting twist to this whole thing. It's not the journey. It's not the goal. It's who you meet through the journey. And that got me thinking back of all the people, the great people I've been around on this journey and the friends that I've made through this journey. And this, again, just wrapped my mind around the whole, why are we even deciding which is better? They're all important. I mean, if you want to take the time to go, what's more important or what's not, I don't even see the point in that. It's like when I have a client who's trying to lose weight or trying to gain weight or trying to put on muscle, which would be gaining weight, or trying to get stronger. Does it really matter what's more important? You need to worry about your sleep. You need to worry about your nutrition. You need to worry about your training. You need to worry about your mental state. You need to worry about your flexibility and mobility. There's all these things that you need to do. Does it really matter which one is more important? They're all important. I mean, we can break it down if we go deeper and deeper, and then you're just going to have a lot of people that are just arguing on which one is more important than the other. But in the end, they're all important. And so let's go back to the emotional side of it. I have a turbulent relationship with my brother. I always have. He's about 1.5 years older than me, I believe. There was one point where he was kicked out of the house, and I remember this was early in my high school football career. And I remember just seeing him on the way to one of the games, and it just all these emotions, and my blood just started boiling. Anger, especially when I was younger, anger was my main. I would turn all emotions into anger because anger was good. I didn't feel tired when I was angry. When I was angry and fighting, I felt no pain whatsoever. I felt invincible. Like I had energy. I could conquer the world. I was super positive. Like anger was a great emotion for me. And I saw him and all these emotions came up and it was just I was just enraged. And I had this great game. And I remember thinking, oh, like I've always kind of loved to fight. Because I loved the feeling that I had in a fight. I loved not feeling pain. I loved feeling invincible. No matter what you did, I didn't care. It didn't matter to me. I was going to keep coming no matter what. But this is the first time that I actually went, hey, wait a minute. I can control this. I can turn this on and off if I learn how. And that kind of set me down a path. And so I'm like, man, all these power of emotions. And I thought about, like a mania phase. And with my sleep issues, I actually was diagnosed as bipolar at one point, which I disagree with. I think it has to do more with my lack of sleep and insomnia at the time, which I have pretty much conquered. But if you go long enough without sleep, you kind of hit this phase where you feel great. And you can go forever. Or you think you can go forever. It turns up only being a few days, maybe a week, and then you crash hard. But I feel like the mania phase it's deeper than this, but I feel like it's kind of the releasing of chemicals and drugs and almost like feelings. And you feel invincible and you're unstoppable. Like you have energy, you're going, everything is positive. When anything comes up that's negative or any little setback, you're like, no problem. I got this. I can go. Like somebody could shoot me in a mania phase and I'd be like, well, I'm bleeding. Oh, well, this is good. I'll get this later. I got to do this right now. Not a problem. I can handle it and just keep going on. And it's just unbelievably powerful. And then think about the times that you were just kind of going through life and it was kind of mundane and you're just like, just doing your thing. And then you meet this person. For me, that person would be a female. And you just have this connection. And all of a sudden, man, within a couple days, you're like, holy shit, I'm sleeping better. I have more energy. I'm waking up with more sunshine. Like my training sessions are awesome. I'm excited. And it's just an emotion. It's an emotion that lifts you up and makes everything in your day better. It makes you see everything from a completely different perspective. So I go back to these conversations I'm having with people and it's like, well, you shouldn't attach emotions to your goal. And I'm like, why wouldn't I? Like, that's a powerful thing. And they're like, well, if you don't make it, you attach emotions to it and you don't achieve it, you're going to be disappointed. And I'm like, so what? I mean, I've been disappointed a lot in my life. Big deal. That's part of life. To me, life is a spectrum of a grayscale spectrum. You have white, black, and everything in between there is different shades of gray. I've always felt that emotionally, if you don't get too high, you're never going to get too low. If you don't get too low, you're never going to get too high. In order to feel really high, you have to be capable of feeling really low. So if I'm afraid of disappointment and I'm afraid of having bad feelings, then I'm never going to allow myself to feel them as high. But then I thought on the flip side, I'm like, well, wait a minute. So people are telling me, well, I just don't want to feel emotions because I don't want to get hurt again. So you're basically shutting off your emotions. Okay, well, if you can shut your emotions off, why can't you choose to just shut off the bad ones, but still feel the good ones? Or better yet, I mean, you can't shut it off. If you shut all your feelings off, you don't feel anything. But if you're trying to control one or the other, it's going to come. And if you're going to have to feel it at first before you go, oh, wait a minute, I don't want to feel this way. I have control over my emotions. So you're going to feel it, but you can control how long that is and the intensity that you feel it with. We get sad. Things happen, you get sad. Things happen, you get crushed. But then you have a choice. As soon as that feeling comes, you have a choice to go, wait a minute, do I want to feel this way? Why am I feeling this way? How can I change how I feel this way? So my thinking is, okay, fine. I'm gonna feel a little bit of bad, but if I can learn how to control the negative and how to get through it quickly, it's not that bad. And the plus side is, this, first of all, builds resilience. You learn how to do that and control that. You're building resilience. You're no longer afraid of it. You know you can control it. But it also allows you to feel the high end of that. And when that feeling comes and you're like, oh, yes, this is a good one. Come on, full blast. Full blast. I want to feel this whole thing as deeply as possible because this is an amazing feeling. So as I go through this and I go, is it about the journey or is it about the goal? And one of the people I talked to, he's like, well, no, the goal is just to know if the journey's working or not. It's basically just a metric. And I went, but how do you, every goal I've ever picked in my life, I'm passionate about. Like, I want to achieve it. It's a challenge to me. And there's some challenges I don't care about. I have a huge respect for bodybuilding. I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to put in the work that it would take to be that lean. And I don't want to get on a stage and be judged in that way. I like being judged on either you lifted it or you didn't. And even there's squat depth and all these different things. But basically, like throwing the shot put was great. You don't step out of the ring, you're good. There's not a whole lot of rules to follow in it, which was better for me. But why can't I enjoy the journey and love the journey, but also love the goal and reaching the goal? And why can't I have an emotional attachment to the journey and to the goal? Having that emotional attachment to the journey too means I'm excited most days about it. I'm happy when all the little goals get met. I'm happy when new people come into my life from this journey. I'm happy when this journey actually leads to something else. Trying to shut off your emotions as a human seems crazy to me. Why would you do that? Like, part of being human is the great feelings that we have. But along with that, just like everything else, it has an opposite side. So why wouldn't you want all of this together? And going back to resilience, it's kind of like doing a competition, a powerlifting competition. And people will go in and they plan out all their numbers. And it's like, okay, you want to go 9 for 9. You want to hit all these numbers to make this total. But how many meets in your life ever go perfect? I've never had one go perfect. And I've competed a lot. There's always something that can go wrong, which is why I plan for that when I pick my numbers. Like, for me, a perfect meet is 6 out of 9. And if I go 7, 8, it's great meet. If I go 9 for 9, it is an absolute miracle. Like, I had the meet of my life. So I set up, I plan for those little things that don't work. But a lot of people, I saw people would go into a meet and then they miss their opener. And it could be because they missed the lift or because they didn't listen to commands or they didn't hit depth. And you can just see how flustered they get. And it takes them back. And all of a sudden you see the negativity start to come in. And before you know it, they're no longer going into this competition offensively. They're no longer going in there fighting and scraping. Now they're just trying to stay in the meet, or they're just trying to get through the meet. Like, they've already lost anything that like the numbers. They're like, I'm not going to make the numbers. I just need to get through the meet. And I've never understood that, because for me, each lift is different. There's many reasons why I could miss a lift. Doesn't mean I'm going to miss the next lift. It has actually no impact at all on the next lift for me, because I have that resilience. I've built that resilience in myself. I've had so many failures in life and I've been disappointed so much that I learned it doesn't really matter. So what? I'm a little disappointed. Doesn't mean I can't come back better. I have my whole life. I'm a better person now than when I was 20. I'm a more intelligent person now. I'm probably stronger than when I was 20, but not as strong as I have been. So there's a point where the physical strength is going to start fading a little bit, but there's many reasons for that. But I built that resiliency, and I'm not afraid of disappointment. I'm not afraid of things not going right. It's happened before, and I continue to come back, and I will continue to come back. So to me, it's like, okay, I have some fail-safe set in. We're going to change the total we're going for. This next attempt is going to be this, or it's going to be this. And there's times where I go, okay, I missed it, but I know I'm going to get that second anyway, so I'm still going to go up and go after my second. But I've built that in. I don't yes, I feel a little disappointment. So what? I don't let it take over. I go, okay, I'm a little disappointed. It happens, whatever. I don't want to feel disappointed. I want to stay positive. I want to move forward. And I make that choice to not hold on to that feeling, but to feel it for that short period of time, let it go. I got to get ready for my next squat or my next bench or whatever. So even when things don't work out, for me, it's a positive. Like basically the only way I can lose is if I completely quit. Every meet that I went to and bombed, I learned something new. That made me better for the next meet. The only way I could have lost was to win, I guess I'm just not a good power lifter. I'm going to stop competing. That's the only way I could have lost. And my ultimate goal was the all-time total. I didn't hit the all-time total. Those that know me know my depression was getting out of hand, the insomnia, the sleep, everything was getting out of hand, and I would have killed myself if I didn't back off and get my shit together. And I chose to do that. And by the time things worked out, because I started powerlifting late, it was like, it's done. And yeah, there was a little disappointment at the time, but you know what? I'm fine. It was a good choice. It was a smart choice because now I'm still here and I still have all this knowledge I can be sharing with other people. It just meant, okay, there was the goal. I wanted this goal. I didn't get there. You know what? I did pretty damn good. There's probably less than 1% of the population that could say they've pushed something as far as I have and been as successful as I have. So that's fine. Now I'm going to find a new goal and I'm going to go after that other goal. I've had many goals in my life that I reached, and it was awesome and amazing. I've had many goals that I was disappointed from. If you go back and look through my life, I originally wanted to be a football player. I wanted to play in the NFL. Once I actually started playing and I had a few years in it, I was starting to have some chronic compartment syndrome issues, and the running got harder and harder, and it just hurt more and more. And I really realized that a full-on team sport like that isn't my style. And I didn't want to do that anymore. So, okay, fine. That one didn't work out like I wanted. I'm like, okay, I'm going to focus completely on the shot put. I like the fact that I have a team. I was always a team captain. I led stretches and warm-ups. I liked seeing how the team was doing. But I also had my own individual event that was just me. There was nobody else in it. And I really liked that. After a couple years in college, my compartment syndrome got progressively worse. We had to have surgery. I was basically told, listen, if you keep irritating this like you are, you could lose your legs. And surgery didn't work like we wanted to. We don't want to do another surgery because you had a bad infection. So you can keep doing it, and this is a possible chance. I really like my legs. I'm very partial to my legs and every other part of my body. So I had to stop doing that. That was a big blow. That was hard. That was disappointing. But it made me tough. And I kept going. And yeah, I floundered for a little bit. I started drinking heavy for a little bit and partying a little more than I should have. But I quickly realized that was dumb too. and got back into lifting. And then eventually I found powerlifting. And that was one that I could really push like I wanted to. And I became one of the top lifters in the world. So all those other things just led up to this one thing. And if I had at any point went, oh, that's it, I'm not going to be emotional because I don't want to be disappointed and I don't want bad things to happen, I would have never found that. And I know people that have done this. I know people that had bad breakups and they will never be in a relationship again because it hurts so bad. They're never going to put themselves in that position. And I get that. I've had some really bad breakups. Like not being able to do the shot put, like that was huge for me. All I really ever wanted to be in my life was a professional athlete. It didn't work out. It's life. There's only so many professional athletes that actually make a real living. That's just part of life. Like it's disappointment. You can't run from, I don't feel you can run from a negative outcome. And I don't believe you should completely take emotion out of it. Now, at the same point, talking to some of the people I was talking to about this, their point was if you attach emotions to the goal, then you make poor decisions throughout the journey because you have an emotional attachment. I disagree with that. A poor decision is a poor decision. You can make a poor decision with no emotions. You can make a poor decision with emotions. I understand if you want it so bad that you let your emotions pick what you're going to do, that can be bad. But again, I don't think you should throw away the baby with the bathwater, which is a dumb saying. Who would just dump it out and throw their baby out? Sidetrack, sorry. But why not control your emotions instead of just going, oh, I could make a bad decision if I let my emotions control this? Well, then you're throwing away a very powerful tool. You're tossing that tool away. You're not even putting it back in your toolbox. You're throwing it away. I say take that tool and know when to pull it out of your toolbox and when to put it back in. Use it when it's powerful and positive. If it's going to be powerful and negative, time to put it away and go back to just your logic. To me, that's the smartest way to do this. I'm trying to think of other avenues of how to explain it. I think that covers it pretty good, though. You're throwing away something super positive in a good way because it could be a negative way. But you have the choice to control it. And we can control our emotions. Our emotions are not, people that run around saying that everyone causes their emotions is BS. It's not true. Emotions might come, or I'll say emotions can come for really almost no reason at all. I think we've all had times where we feel certain things and we're like, why do I feel that? There's also a lot of times where emotions mean something. If emotion comes up, it could be something deep-seated in your subconscious or your psyche that's coming up. Like you could have a certain situation where you're talking to somebody and all of a sudden your brain clicks into this memory of a negative thing in your past and all of a sudden that emotion triggers it. And that's actually a good sign because that means you need to go back and think on that situation and disattach the emotions to that memory. So it's just a memory that now you can learn something from, but you don't have an emotion tied to it. But that's controlling your emotions. So if I can do that and control my emotions, why don't I want to control them in my future of what I want to do? I think love is really important in life. I think it's a super powerful thing. With the same strength it can be powerful, it can crush you. That's fair. That makes sense to me. if it's worthwhile and it's worth feeling, then there should be some discipline that goes along with it. There should be some work that goes along with it. There should be some control that goes along with it. I'm not willing to completely throw all that away because I'm afraid of some work. I don't want to throw that possibility away because I'm afraid to control myself, or I'm afraid to look deep inside myself and answer my own questions of why. Why can't I control it? I'll do the work. I'll put in the time. I'll suffer the pain so that I can have that feeling. And I can utilize that feeling. So I think as we go through our journey in life, or through our journeys in life, the big journey and then small journeys inside of it, it's really like Joseph Campbell talks about with the hero's journey. That's something I think humans need. That's something we need to have in our lives. We need to have goals. We need to have journeys. And there's going to be one big journey, which is you're born and you die. That's your journey in between there. How do you want to deal with it? But then there's all these small journeys inside there. And like the hero's journey, you find something you want to do and it builds you and it makes you a better person. And then you get to the end of it. And that's where I think now you take a little time to sit back, reflect, calm down, recharge your body, then go back to it. Now you're recharged. Now you know more. Now you're stronger. Now you've been through that journey that has the good times and the bad times, and you've become more resilient. You've fallen a lot, but you've learned that you know how to get back up no matter what. And to me, that's a big part of resilience. So to try and shut down part of this, the emotional side, to try and take the emotional side out of it, to not have an emotional attachment to the goal, it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I like having that emotional goal. Maybe when I do hit the goal, I don't celebrate that much. Maybe I like the journey a little more than the goal. But does it really matter? I still like them both. I still enjoy them both. I enjoy the journey. I enjoy the people I meet. I enjoy looking back on my journeys with the people that I went through it. I enjoy thinking about the goals that I accomplished. I kind of enjoy thinking about the goals that I missed, because that built resilience in me, because that was a positive thing. It challenged me to go further. If I had no emotional attachment to it and I didn't care if I got it, then there's no benefit to getting it or not getting it. The only benefit is to go, oh, yes, that journey worked as I projected, or it didn't work as I projected. That seems kind of boring to me. Like, I want to feel the up or the down. The up's going to feel good and it's going to motivate me to go further. Feeling down is going to motivate me to get back at it and make it happen. It's going to motivate me to work even harder. So either way, up or down, I benefited. Like, the only problem with the negative crushing emotions is if you don't control them and if you don't see that they're actually positive in a way too. So that goes back to your whole mindset of how you're looking at this whole process. And as you're on this journey, knowing when is the time to be logical, when's the time to be emotional. For instance, on my journey of powerlifting, with my sleep and my depression, there was a lot of bad days. And there were days where I was at work and I just want to kill the world because I feel so horrible. And I could go, you know what? Let's visualize a little bit. And I would visualize that journey. I would visualize breaking that world record, hitting that PR, winning that big meet. And I would visualize what that's going to feel like. And all of a sudden, no matter how bad I felt, I would get this little grin on my face. And before you know it, by the time it was time to go to the gym, I can't wait to train, because that's one step closer to that feeling that I had. And then, yes, at one point I thought, well, the goal doesn't matter because I only celebrate a world record for like 5 minutes. 5 minutes was really good. And you could say, I mean, I knew I was going to get there. I'd already visualized it. I had already felt it. So I felt it for a little bit for those 5 minutes. Those 5 minutes were enough for me to go, I want to do this again. I want to do the journey again, and I want the end again. Yeah, I admit, I love the journey. I love throwing my cards on the table and going, can you do this or not? Hell, this whole podcast. There's many reasons why I do this podcast. One is I want to help people. One is I want to make a positive difference in this world. And there's definitely one in there that this is a challenge to me. It's a challenge, an extremely deathly shy person doing a podcast and interviewing other people and getting better and better at it all the time. Do you know how hard it is to get a podcast that you could actually make a living at, which I'm not at, but it's one of my goals, to have more time to do more podcasts and to get even better at doing podcasts, to have guests, actually bring guests into a place. So I love this challenge. And if it comes to the point where man, I can't keep putting time and money into this and it's not working, I can't keep doing this. Yeah, it's going to suck. Yeah, I'm going to feel a little depressed, but you know what? At least I gave it a shot. At least I went after it. And I'm going to know that I learned something from this experience. So I don't mind that. I'm not afraid of that. I'm more afraid to not try. I'm more afraid of being the guy that shuts down all my emotions because I don't want to be hurt. That scares me more than not making it and having some bad feelings. So that's where I'm at with this whole thing. And I thought this would be an interesting one just to do on a podcast to let you guys kind of percolate on everything I said and where you're at and how you do it. And I'm not saying either way is right or wrong. That's one of the great things about this world is there's many paths to the same place. And we all have to find our own path. There is no exact right and exact wrong. But I do want to give you guys my experience and how I did reach the highest level of a sport or of a goal. And how I'm still using all the information I did in that to now try new things. To be a full-time strength coach, to be a podcaster, to see if I can write successful manuals and how many people can I help achieve their goals of weight loss and strength and size, and keep pushing the limits of myself. It's about not having fear. It's about going for it. And it's about not shutting down, but using every single tool you can possibly use. And if my emotions help motivate me sometimes, then I'm going to use that motivation. But I also understand that a motivation is really a feeling and it comes and goes and it's not always going to be there. But if I'm a disciplined person, I will have the discipline to do what I need to do when the motivation isn't there. But I'm not going to shut down the motivation. That would be dumb to me. And that's a change in my mind. I used to bad talk motivation because I was like, you can't rely on it. Well, I can't rely on it, but that doesn't mean I can't use it when it's there. It would be crazy not to use it when it's there. Use it when it's there and let my discipline relax a little bit so it can stay strong and be there when I need it. So basically find your own path, but don't ever stop thinking and trying and trying to find new and better ways to improve yourself and improve your journey and learn from your journey for the next journey, because that's life. Life is journeys. Life is journeys and goals. Some are accomplished and it's going to feel great. Some aren't, but you're going to learn something from it and it's going to have a little bit of pain. So what? Just keep going on your journeys. Keep pushing yourself. Keep striving for more. Keep fighting for that greatness that I know that you have inside of you. We all have the capability to be special, to be great, but it's not just going to happen. I know it's one of the mistakes of people that talk about manifestation. Manifestation isn't just about imagining things. You have to put in the work. You have to push for it. You have to do everything you can to keep working for it while you're also using your mind and your positive energy to try to draw that to you. Use it all. Take it all in. Keep what you need, keep what you like, keep what works for you, and to get rid of the rest. Take in the good emotions. When the bad ones come, just accept them and let them go, because they're not going to do any positive for you. I'm out of here. You guys think about that.
Thanks for listening to the Courage Barbell Unlimited podcast. For more information, please visit CourageBarbell.com. Until next time.